Let's look and see. I think. Somebody's in the place, so, okay. So we'll make the pledge and then, okay.
How are you?
I'm good, yeah?
Good. Do you want to put these on the chairs up here?
Read what's right here on the script. Oh, yeah, when you get to this, no, skip over there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Is the script gonna stay over here?
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't walk with them. I'm just gonna do it over here.
Yeah, I'll leave. How close do you? Okay. Like this one? Huh? I don't. Oh, there's one right here.
So when I hear over here, where's the No, it's just I do.
Does it matter which way I go?
The mics are on, by the way.
free to sit in the back row. Feel free to sit in the back row. No, it doesn't matter. We don't know. I just, yeah. We didn't know how many chairs we put up. And then, okay, they're gonna, after they process in, after they're over there, then you can call, okay?
Oh, did they come?
Yeah, so they're gonna walk in just a minute, and they're gonna go over there, and then you're on, okay?
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Well, good evening, everyone. I have the honor to start this great ceremony off, this great day, this great night that we are. This is kind of a good news, bad news story. The good news is we can have the event this year. The bad news is that the folks that would like to have us here with us, your families in some cases, and the faculty and others, because of COVID, we could not do that. However, they are here with us. They're out there watching. This is being sent out to all of them. And so I also want to welcome them, as well as all of you, to this special night. I also want to thank and welcome the faculty, who again would otherwise be here, but cannot be here tonight. But they're also a part of this, a very important part of this. You know, this is the 15th time I've been able to say this, and that is the fact that I've always say that this is a special night for me in my time at Nmmi, because in 2007, probably about the time some of you were being born, I guess, in 2007, this was the very first event, coming in the 1st of April. This was the very first event later in that month to take place. And so for that reason, it's always been special for me every year. This is also a special night for the families, to congratulate all of you out there, because these young men and women have excelled, and they've been here, and that's been in large part because of what you have done and inspired them in preparing them for the time they are here. And again, it is also a special time for the faculty. It's an opportunity for the students here and all of us to salute them, and we do that in, as you will hear later in the program tonight, the awarding of the Teachers of the Year, both in the high school and the junior college. But, this is a special night for you. You bring to the school excellence, and this is all about excellence. This is a night of recognition, a recognition of success which you have achieved in the time that you have been here. Recognition foremost. And it's a recognition that will live with you as long as you live. Being inducted into an honor society, whether it's the National Honor Society or Phi Theta Kappa, is a part of your vita. You will meet people throughout your careers who have shared with you this honor tonight, to have been inducted into this ceremony. And it becomes a very important part of your life. All over the country at this time, in high schools and in colleges, there is a ceremony like this in which young men and women are inducted into this honor society. The requirements are the requirements of leadership, commitment, and service. But that's no stranger to you folks, no stranger at all. It's tied up in our value system, honor, achievement, and duty. And so in many ways, this ceremony has even more significance than it would at any of those other learning institutions, being a part of this most important thing. We've also recognized your achievements. That's a big part of this. But we're also celebrating not just what you have done, not just what you have done, but what you will do with what you have done, what you will achieve with what you will have done. And a challenge to inspire your classmates to sit out there at one time and be inducted into this overall ceremony. So with that, I welcome you all here. We want to get underway. I do want to say a brief thank you to your sponsors and mentors, and that's Major Cindy Vandiver for the National Honor Society, and also to Major Susan Scott for Phi Theta Kappa. And with that said, welcome again. Welcome the folks listening at home, watching at home, and I now turn the program over to the next person. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brisa Hecox, and I'm the Vice President of Phi Theta Kappa. Both National Honor Society, Phi Theta Kappa, considers scholarship, leadership, character, and service to be foundational in an individual's development. Each year, both NHS and PTK chose a Teacher of the Year who embodied these qualities. Our guest speaker today was chosen as PTK's Teacher of the Year for 2019 to 2020 and upholds these traits. She actively volunteers throughout the community service on various committees, including the RMAC Educators Committee and RMCA Membership Committee. She regularly volunteers at the Roswell Museum and Art Center and the Miniatures Museum in Roswell. She has worked with the Battered Adult Shelter and Refuge in Roswell, and in showing her devotedness to children of all ages, she served as a soccer coach in the Roswell Youth Soccer Association. At Nmmi, she has served in various leadership positions on the Faculty Senate, including secretary. She has spent innumerable hours outside of the academic day working to engage students at Nmmi by sponsoring the Postscript Writing Club, the Maverick Magazine, the Female Cadet Mentoring Program, the Ethics Club, and the Shakespeare Festival. We have all enjoyed her various costumes whenever she attends the Shakespeare Festival and cannot wait until the festival can resume. Even with all the time she spends volunteering both in the community and on campus, she continues to write and publish. But even more impressively, she decided a PhD in English from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln was insufficient, and she finished a secondary MA in philosophy from Texas Tech University this year. Due to the fact that she clearly embodies the characteristics that both NHS and PTK hold dear, please help me in welcoming Dr. Lindsay Mayo Fincher.
That was such a lovely introduction. Thank you so much, Brisa. So those of you who take me for classes every day will be horrified to know I'm actually going to talk about Plato for a little bit tonight and Aristotle, so I'm looking at you right there. So apologies, but that's also a Plato pun, which you would appreciate as well. So on a night celebrating excellence, it's only fitting that we think about the particular quality that makes humans excellent as creatures. Since time immemorial, we've wondered what it is that's peculiar to being human. What is it that separates humans from the natural world, and what debt do humans owe to the world? Plato imagined that humans were peculiar by their strange inheritance of both being akin to animals, forced to admit a certain rankness, a certain ripening, a certain wildness of the material form, but he also knew that we were distinct from our animality. That is, we can rule our own material forms through a thing called restraint in order to more properly understand the world as it is and our natural selves as they are. His idea was bold, beautiful, baffling, irresistible, that our souls are capable of inheriting all the knowledge of the world. We only need to plunge into our own depths to get to the Alpha and the Omega. Of course, this is a mere distillation of very heady concepts, what Plato calls the forms, which are ideas that are basically in some kind of ephemeral cloud. And so if you want to come see me later in office hours and talk more, I'll almost certainly be talking to myself, and you should just come right by. Aristotle, as Plato's student, followed somewhat in the same track, but he also diverted. He imagined that's what is peculiar to humans is not simply reasoning, but reasoning towards virtue. And not simply virtue, but perfection of the virtues. And to quote Aristotle, since a single swallow does not a spring make, it's only through phronesis, which is practical wisdom or experience, that we come close, albeit in fits and starts, to any perfection in moral conduct. We are, after all, creatures who are imperfect in our governments of ourselves and our political systems, quite often place us very far from the path to perfection. We must grapple with this extraordinary and peculiar gift that is moral reasoning. Still unsatisfied, philosophers of the Enlightenment imagined it was the ability to have futurity, to imagine ourselves in futures that do not yet exist. But there we face an even greater difficulty. Then and now, as it's increasingly uncertain to posit what makes humans different from flora and fauna, since we've realized that the natural world has reasoning powers and sentience that was once hidden from us, to imagine futurity as the feature that makes humans singular seems to ignore our past, to ignore epic poems that tell us of corvids who arrive at the battlefield before soldiers. Ravens were ever ready to make repast of hubristic fools, after all. Even the ancients knew to leave a bone behind for Corby. After all, ravens foretell the events to come, and the Greeks read bird signs to comprehend that evasive mistress, better known as fate. Augury was the art of reading fate in the behavior of our feathery friends, and perhaps, if we had stayed among the birds, we could have answered the question of human peculiarity sooner. Ravens, as it turns out, can use tools. They can understand future consequences and rewards, and probably my favorite part about ravens is that they hold generational love and generational hatred. People who are cruel to their mothers and fathers will receive retribution, and that's very much like being human, right? But as a fincher, it is my nature to want to stick with birds, and I was told to perch, not to roost, in this discussion, so I have to gain wings now and fly on. The point being is we're never removed from nature, that nature is within us and without us. Wordsworth worried we were out of tune with nature, and he was disturbed by the alarming rate with which humans were turning away from nature. That what is most delicate, the upturned sleeping flowers, and that which is most forceful, the gale-like winds, which we experience today, would move us not in nature. Wordsworth imagined his role as poet as that of cipher. To decode nature was to decode our human selves, and to turn away from nature was to turn away from a beautiful inheritance. The flowers and vines, deer and rabbits that once illuminated the manuscripts of poems were no more, and poesy was flanked on the page by blank margins. We seemed to be at the periphery of nature. In our mind's eye, we were the masterpiece, while nature was mere marginalia, cast to the side and forgotten. Yet with this COVIDian year, and yes, I have made that into an adjective, and I love it, what this COVIDian year has offered is a reminder of nature, of the brute force of the invisible hand, of the shocking insecurity of fate. There was a marked uptick in bird watching from windows between Zoom calls, as though we too could trace our fates in feathers. And being reminded of our own fragility, we've arrived closer at what it is to be human, an obscurity we knew but had forgotten. That to be human is to be seeking and searching, struggling to inhabit the inhabitable. Lost in the landscape of the mind, seeking Platonic truth and arriving at a more original self. We all hoped to be Newton in the pandemic and found geometry, but we ended up more like Samuel Pepys in The Plague, caught in the mundane acts of normal life, showing impatience with the outbreak, and vacillating hourly between the extremes of hubris and hunkering fear. In the early months, we had the decidedly rare occurrence of a shared global experience, and like Carl Jung, we wondered if a collective unconscious were possible. If all humans could share the same thoughts and feelings, despite culture, place, and language. People across the globe began reporting strange dreams about the pandemic, and people across the globe began to share the same heavings and sighings. Like the Victorians before us who made the plague a vogue moment, tuberculosis chic, as it was called, we have our pandemic fashions too, casting ourselves as plagued by lassitude and ennui. We languish, exclaims the New York Times just 2 days ago. But I argue we do not languish. We have wild exuberance, a lasting, unquenchable enthusiasm for life that makes humans peculiar as creatures. We are creatures who create, who imagine, we redesign fate. We have a dogged determination and a love for beauty. In a pandemic that's reshaped our daily life, we found new words to describe our experience and to recast the meaning of older words. We did what humans do. We created language anew and linguistically invigorated a languishing world. Like Shakespeare before us, a playwright in plague years, we found inspiration in spite and despite. We take exception to that which would stunt our creation, and we create nonetheless. And this is what makes humans rather exceptional creatures, I think. And so I invite you to continue to be exceptional. It's but in your nature to do so. Thank you so much for having me as speaker.
Superintendent General Grizzle, Dean General Murray, Vice Dean Colonel Porras, Commandant Colonel Tate, and those who could not be with us in person but online, faculty, parents, and guests, and most importantly, cadets. I welcome you to the 2021 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. We are gathered here to formally recognize those students who have been selected by the faculty of our school for successfully completing their candidacy and are being inducted as new members of our chapter. Those selected for membership in the Merle B. Prinky Jr. chapter of the National Honor Society at the New Mexico Military Institute are members of the 3rd, 4th, or 5th class, have earned a 3.4 cumulative GPA, and have demonstrated scholarship, leadership, service, and character. Members of this year's Faculty Council are Lieutenant Colonel Matchin, Lieutenant Colonel Rager Johnson, Major Chloe Tompkins, Major Canali, Major Saiz, and alternates, Colonel Farley and Major Northrup. Thank you for your service to National Honor Society over the past year. Now, will the current members of the Merle B. Prinky Jr. chapter of the National Honor Society please stand up and be recognized? Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce some of our members who will conduct tonight's ceremony. They are Brianne Boyd, Vincent Carpio Torres, Nathan Davis, and Lacey Ryan. For current members and those former members who may be watching, we hope this will serve to remind you of the standards of excellence you too are charged with maintaining as members of the nation's oldest, largest, and most prestigious student recognition program. I will now light the eternal light of knowledge, which are flanked by 4 unlighted candles, each representing scholarship, leadership, service, and character.
In 1970, Colonel J.E. Bud Beerley, then Director of Alumni Affairs for the New Mexico Military Institute, wished to install a National Honor Society chapter to enable faculty to select, recognize those cadets of the 10th, 11th, and 12th grades who demonstrate outstanding academic ability, leadership, and helpfulness among their peers. Colonel Beerley received permission from Mr. Merle Prinky Sr. to name the chapter after his son, Merle Prinky Jr., who was a former member of the Institute Corps of Cadets and was an outstanding scholar and leader. It is our pleasure to be here this evening, continuing the tradition begun by Colonel Beerley almost 50 years ago. Those who are to be inducted this evening into the Merle B. Prinky Jr. chapter of the National Honor Society have been judged by the Faculty Council to have demonstrated the 4 qualities held in high esteem by the Society. Throughout the year, members of our chapter serve as role models for other students. In addition to the strong academic records that establish our eligibility for membership, our chapter members are leaders in many student organizations and serve our school and community through many activities, including science projects at elementary schools and caroling at nursing homes and assisted living facilities. We are proud of this record of accomplishment and welcome these new members who bring new energy in support of our continuing work as National Honor Society members. It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance that membership in the Merle B. Prinky Jr. chapter of the National Honor Society have been earned by these candidates through the effective demonstration of the 4 qualities that serve the standards of the National Honor Society. Members of the chapter will now review these qualities for the candidates. We begin with scholarship. Scholarship denotes a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and study, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life which leads to the highest success, and it can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, the torch guiding us to understand the present, and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
Service can be established in the routine of the day's work, where many opportunities arise to help others, both at school and in the community. A willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or public recognition is a quality we seek in our membership and promote for the entire student body. We are committed to volunteering our time and talents to the creation of a better tomorrow.
Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking initiative in the classroom and in school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to reach their common goals of success. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a school, community, or nation, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a leader. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is a meaningful and substantial charge to each of our members.
Character is the force within the individual that distinguishes each person from others. It creates for each of us our individuality, our goodness. It is that without which no one can respect oneself, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character that guides one through life and, once developed, grows steadily within. Character is achieved and not received. It is the product of constant thought and action, the daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be, in reality, what we wish to appear to others, to be rather than to seem. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship, we may hope to provide by example that we value character.
At this time, will the new inductees please rise, raise your right hand, and repeat the Pledge of National Honor Society? Please repeat after me. I pledge to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands, and will maintain and encourage high standards of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. Thank you. You may be seated. And now, as your name is called by Kylie Hostetler, please step forward onto the stage to receive your token of membership.
Kai Memorial Amici. Ivan Believ. Taven Cunningham. Hannah Farrar. Sergio Gonzalez. Isabella Gonzalez Juarez. Fook Lee. Kristen Lovato. Diego Mata Acosta. Charlie Melton Hovland. Nicole Mendez. Omar Perez Pereira. Nyok Hong Pham. Nyok Min Pham. Cameron Ryan. Adhav Sivakumar. Daniolo Starkbravo. Hunter True. Braden Urakidis. Emmy Van de Wallace. Autumn Weaver. John Zimmerman. William Castello Paz. On behalf of the administration, faculty, and student body of the New Mexico Military Institute, I welcome you to the Merle B. Prinky Jr. chapter of the National Honor Society. It is now my pleasure to introduce the sponsor of our Phi Theta Kappa fraternity, Lieutenant Colonel Scott.
Well, I appreciate the promotion. It's Major Scott, but thank you very much. Actually, at this time, I turn this over to my officers. So if you'll come up and join us, and then I'll be back to speak at the closing. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Camden Cox, and I'm the recording secretary for the Phi Alpha chapter of the Phi Theta Kappa. With me are Luis Silva Alvarez, PTK president, and Brisa Hecox, PTK vice president. Normally, the vice president and president would start this part of the program. However, as you know, this is not a normal year. PTK officer elections were held just recently, and as the president and vice president are among those to be inducted tonight, we will start with that. Luis Silva Alvarez and Brisa Hecox, please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly promise to uphold the standards of Phi Theta Kappa and pledge allegiance to your fellow members and promise to aid them in all worthy endeavors?
Honored President, Advisor, Dean, Vice Dean, teachers, guests, and fellow Phi Theta Kappa members, I am pleased to present to you these cadets for membership in our Honor Society. These students have fulfilled all requirements for membership and have been selected because they have chosen scholarship, leadership, service, and fellowship as their hallmarks. I recommend them for acceptance into the Phi Alpha chapter of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society.
You're about to be inducted into a scholarly fellowship, which embraces two-year colleges, not only from your own state, but of the nation and the world. The fellowship is Phi Theta Kappa, and your chapter is Phi Alpha. You have met the membership requirement of completing a minimum of 12 college credits with a GPA of 3.25 or higher. After induction, you will find among the members an atmosphere of scholarship. In order that the organization may be meaningful to you, you must be willing to give of yourself to become involved.
Phi Theta Kappa has been an honor society for over 100 years. While much has changed in the past century, the foundations of Phi Theta Kappa remain constant. The golden field that refers to the golden opportunities around to PTK members to perform good works. The three Greek letters, which are the initials of the Greek word meaning wisdom, aspiration, and purity. The wreath composed of both oak leaves, symbolizing strength of character, and laurel leaves, signifying achievement and success. The representation of the head of Athena, a symbol of learning. These come together on the Phi Theta Kappa badge to stand as a symbol of the high idealism of our organization membership in our select group. New Phi Theta Kappa members, please stand. Know that the standards and ideals of this organization have been fully revealed to you. You come to complete the pledge, which admits you into complete fellowship. Repeat after me. I do solemnly promise on the 27th day of April to uphold the standards of Phi Theta Kappa and to keep this subject and aim in mind. And I do solemnly pledge allegiance to my fellow members and promise to aid them in all worthy endeavors.
Teresa Antonio. Christian Bittner. Chakeo Brown. Kalani Charlie. Nicholas Chavez. Galan Clemens. Enrique Date. Kayla Dill. Moises Enriquez. Ian Fitzsimmons. George Garcia. Leslie Hernandez. William Higgins. Jessica Jimenez Paredes, Tatiana Jiren, Daniela Laporte, David Maley, Paul Martinez, Santiago Mora Lopez Baca, Lauren Morrow, Robert Nelson, Luis Pablo Padres, Hunter Rockmore, Phoebe Rowland, James Royals, Richard Sampson Jones, Daniel Shapiro, Kelsey Smith, Diego Solis, Rodolfo Spiegel, Ian Thurlow, Jesse Turley, Samantha Turner, Ricardo Zamora, John Zimmerman.
The mission of Phi Theta Kappa is twofold. First, to recognize academic achievement of college students. I salute you for your accomplishment. You've worked hard to get to this point. I welcome you. It's been a little bit of a crazy year, so we haven't had any meetings. Thank you for participating in the virtual activities we've had. However, now that you've earned this recognition, your work isn't done. The second half of the Phi Theta Kappa mission is to provide opportunities to grow as scholars and as leaders. You can't grow unless you work at it. I challenge you to explore always to find truth and to dedicate yourselves to the cultivation of the well-reasoned life. To quote Maya Angelou, all great achievements require time. Nothing will work unless you do. I challenge you also to seek out ways of serving others.
Good evening, fellow classmates, faculty, and staff. I am Cadet First Sergeant Andres Tueme. I feel honored and humbled to be part of the ceremony of the National Honor Society Teacher of the Year Award. This year's award winner not only embodies the characteristics and values of NHS, scholarship, character, leadership, and service, but she is an example to follow and a person to look up. Throughout my school years, many teachers have influenced me, but I have only met a few that have made a tremendous impact on my life today. Having a teacher that inspires every single student to develop their full potential not only shows the love for her job, but for the students themselves. A good teacher is one that inspires you to give your 110% and pursue your own goals. A great teacher is one that can understand and relate with their students. A distinguished teacher not only allows your students to learn from their mistakes, but also encourages them to get back on their feet and keep moving forward. An excellent teacher not only teaches her subject, but also inspires you to be better. I had the honor to be one of the students of today's awardee, and I can't express enough how much she had positively impacted me and every single one of my classmates till this day. This teacher understands the difficulties that every student is facing because she puts herself in our shoes. This teacher portrays the love for learning and teaching and how learning with humor is the best way to teach, because students will not only learn, but also enjoy it while doing it. This individual showed that the relationship between a student and a teacher is the most important thing at school, always wishing the best for each. Many of our classmates believe that this teacher not only cares for our education and how we develop as students, but she prepares us for real life. This teacher has helped me see the good in a bad day and motivate me to grow as a person. She understands that every single student is different and that there's different ways to get through each student. She takes the time to see us as individuals with different goals and different barriers, and despite the effort and difficulty it must be, she does it with as much love as she can and with a big smile in her face. This Teacher of the Year award is given to someone who deserves it and deserves much more. I am honored to share with you all this year's National Honor Society Teacher of the Year awardee is Major Mayo Fincher. Major Mayo Fincher has helped each and every one of her students to be the best version of themselves. I can tell you firsthand that my classmates and I are not the same people that we were at the beginning of the school year. Even though there were challenges such as the pandemic, she found a way to overcome it and create an enjoyable moment. Thank you, Major Mayo Fincher. Thank you for pushing us to be better and never back down when our backs are against the wall. Thank you for all the great memories that you have created with every one of your students, and believe me, they will not be forgotten. I am very thankful for having the opportunity to call myself your student. Every time we remember you and your class, we will remember it with a smile and be thankful for the opportunity to be part of it. Lastly, thank you for all the smiles and laughs that will be forever remembered. Congratulations, Major Mayo Fincher, for winning the Teacher of the Year.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to get this award, and I definitely have a few gray hairs that I've gained as a result of this senior year. But I was inspired very much by this group of seniors who are the embodiment of exuberance and energy and enthusiasm. And I think that they are, they've been given a senior year that is very, very difficult. And all of my college students, I feel the same way. This has been a very trying year for you, and I just admire so much the kind of determination and energy you bring to every day, despite having to make a number of sacrifices. So I feel like I'm inspired by the work you guys do every day, so thank you so much for this honor.
Every year, the members of Phi Theta Kappa vote for a teacher they feel has exhibited exemplary teaching and support throughout the year. This year, the voting resulted in a tie. PTK Teachers of the Year goes to Mayor Andaya and Mayor Weber Bacolum. They were not able to attend, but I would like to request a round of applause in order to recognize their hard work and dedication here at the Institute. Thank you.
I'm going to look sometime and see if it's customary that the superintendent always give closing remarks. I always seem to draw that duty. I'm not sure it's customary or they just put me at the last. I'd first like to echo what Mayor Fincher said to all of you, and that's a big thank you. And to the parents and families that are watching, this has been a very different, very difficult year. I know you had choices. I think sometimes at the time I'm stuck on an airplane on the tarmac and the pilot comes on with some lame excuse about why we're stuck that way, and he always says, I want to thank you for your patience and your understanding. Well, I want to tell him I don't have any patience or understanding. I don't have an option. I'm stuck in your damn airplane. I can't get out of it. But you had an option, and you still chose to come to Nmmi, knowing the challenges and the difficulties that this year was going to represent. So I can't thank you enough for doing that, for enduring with us what we had to. We basically fought all the odds in this state. Many officials did not want us to be here in the classroom, providing the education that we did, but we believed it was the right thing to do, particularly the type of school that Nmmi represents. It's difficult to do all the things we do remotely. And so I thank you, and I thank your parents and all the relatives that helped us make this year a success. On a lighter note, Lindsay, I wanted to tell you I really appreciated your comments about Plato and Aristotle. Recently, I was gullible and signed up for one of those DNA tests that everybody is offered from Ancestry.com and 23andMe, and I don't remember that CRI Genetics, I believe, was the name of the one that I chose because it professed that it was better than all the others. So I signed up for it, and of course that was just the first hook. Then they want you to do the maternal DNA trace and the paternal DNA trace, and they have the ability to tell you if you're related to any famous people. So what started out as $99 ended up about $279, but I got this really great report, and I found out apparently that I'm related to Copernicus. Not sure exactly how. The report is very detailed. It actually tells you in your DNA what chromosome number is attracted to that trace. So it was a very interesting report. Not encouraging you to spend that kind of money to do it, but it was a very interesting report. I also want to tell you again, thank you for embodying all of the things that both of these organizations represent. It's more than just the scholarly aspect of things. There's a lot of people that can look at a book, memorize it, and take a test and make an A. But as I look out here, I not only see scholars, which is certainly a criteria, I see leaders, I see athletes, I see leaders in the Corps, I see leaders in junior ROTC, I see leaders in senior ROTC. You embody all of the things that it takes to be a member of these two great organizations. So once again, thank you for all your hard work. It's almost over. For those that'll be leaving here in about 2 weeks, this is just the next step in your life. And I profess to you that you are prepared for that next step. If you take forward the things that you've learned here over the years, then you will be successful in whatever that step is. That's our challenge, and that is what we pledge to you that we will do, is have you ready for the next step in your life. And I believe you will leave here, those that leave on the 15th of May, for that next step. So I want to close again by saying thank you. I can't say it enough for for the years that you spent here, for that option you chose to come back this year, and for those that will be returning in the years to come. Thank you very much for what you've done for us. Good evening.
I'd like to thank the parents and friends, family members, faculty members who are joining us virtually for just joining with us in spirit and supporting our amazing young people. I'm really proud of all of you. You've done a great job. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.